Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review podcast. This is episode 31. On this show, we strive to showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Action Target. Today I have with me two familiar faces and voices, Sam Asner and Mark McKelvey. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you for having me again, Ryan.
And me as well. Hope everybody's having a good evening.
Yeah, so who's been shooting this week?
I have.
And I as well. Go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, it was last Saturday picked up a Glock 19 off my friend, and I mentioned it one of my last reviews on the slide plate that I did a review on, and I'm doing another review on another part I bought for it actually, and I finally got a chance to really just take it to the range and run a couple hundred rounds through it, and it surely didn't disappoint. It was fantastic. I'm fairly new to Glocks, and from the first few times I shot it when it was still my friend's, it felt good to me, and this time I actually had a chance to really run it through some drills and do some offhand stuff, single hand stuff, and kind of really practice it, and it was just all around felt fantastic. I also impulse bought a Wasser 10, an AK variant. For those not familiar with what a Wasser is, bought that on Friday as a half impulse, half I've been wanting one for a very long time, so I picked that up and shot that on Sunday as well, and that was a whole bunch of fun.
That's quite the impulse.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. You must not be married.
Nope.
Yeah, see, that answers that. Well, I got to go out and
How about
shoot
you, Mark?
Saturday. I went out and did a defensive pistol course. They have a range down not too far from me, and they hold those every month. So I got down there and shot my 45 and this what I'm going to review tonight, the 1911 22. They have a 22 division as well as centerfire, so got to shoot both of those. Did quite well, actually. Took first place in my in the custom defensive pistol, which is the 45.
Good going. Good job, man.
Yeah. About 6. Most everybody's shooting plastic guns, so I guess most of the competition was over there. But there was about, I don't know, 6 or 8 of us shooting 45 1911. So anyway.
Sweet. Yeah, I've just been doing some reloading and looking at different scopes for a new rifle I got, and I've got some stuff on Brownells that I ordered. I'm waiting to get back. A 40 Smith & Wesson barrel for my M&P compact, just to shoot. I find that the Storm Lake barrel in 9 that I got doesn't really shoot where I aim, and I don't want to drift my sights. So if I end up shooting better with this 40 barrel right from the factory, then I'll end up returning the Storm Lake barrel or selling it slightly used. That's all I've been doing. Let's
Cool.
get right into the announcements. We're giving away the Raid Tech ammo counters, the LED advisor, and the digital counters. This is a great way, if you're not familiar with adding a instantaneous feedback to your firearm, lets you know your ammo supply. So for the 1911, the Beretta 92, and the M&P 9, it replaces the grip. The M&P 9, it would replace the backstrap, and for the 1911, it actually slides right over your mag well. And then there's a digital reader that just comes with one little scope ring, and you can mount that anywhere on your rail. So what it does is count how many. If you've got the digital counter, it'll actually count up in a little LED screen how many bullets you've fired, and then it'll actually remember how many you've fired And then if you have the LED advisor, that's just a light that changes color and turns red when you're out of ammo. So it helps you with muscle memory and your training, especially if your training includes focus under simulated fire. Or you just want something cool to add to your range toy. It works for that too. So all you need to do to enter for the giveaway is leave us an iTunes review. Doesn't have to be a 5. I sure hope it's not a 1. But just leave an iTunes review and then send me an email, cross@firearmsradio.tv, with your name and your username, your address, and which of the 4 Raid Tech models that you would prefer to win, and then you're entered. Deadline for entries is May 27th, and the following broadcasts after that, I'll be revealing the winners. So let's get. Oh, one more announcement. I'm always looking for more guests, panelists, and some of the listener reviews that have been submitted. If any of those individuals would like to come up on the show and talk about their review on the air, I'd be more than happy to work that out with you. So shoot me an email, cross@firearmsradio.tv, and we'll get that set up. So right into the new product spotlight. This is something that actually Mark had emailed me. I've seen it on the shelves before. It's MechTech, and they're basically uppers for your pistol. You get your 1911 and your Glock, and it basically converts it to somewhat of a AR-15. Does that sound about right?
Well, I don't know about an AR-15, but I thought it was just neat. I don't know. I'm looking for something for my son, shoot a carbine like in a center fire. ARs are a little too heavy for him at this point, and I just thought this would be a really cool little something to throw out pistol caliber rounds, and quite honestly, I wouldn't mind having it around for a defensive weapon. You know, in a small house. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed emotions. I'm a big 1911 guy, so at first I thought I wanted to get one to fit the 1911, but then I thought, well, low round capacity, could go with a Glock, and yada yada. So anyway, I'm kind of leaning toward wanting one for a Glock. My only concern with that is my problem with Glocks. I don't have any, they're just big for my hand. I have small hands, and so the Glock grip is kind of large for me, and I figured my son might have the same problem. But anyway, I think they're cool little, cool little concept. You can kind of customize them, multitude of different model pistols, no modifications required for the receiver portion in either the 1911 or the Glock, and you could convert it back and forth if you so desired.
Yeah, pretty much makes it just a modular carbine. I really like the side charging handle that it has. What do you think, Sam?
I think ergonomically it looks cool. It looks like it's a whole heck of a lot of fun. My only concern is price point. So as seen, complete with the handguards, sights, stock, and all that, ready to shoot. It said at least for the Glock model was $536, if I'm remembering it off the top of my head correctly. But I haven't really been looking at just right carbines recently, pistol caliber carbines. But I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, that they go in like the 700 range for a purpose-built pistol caliber carbine. So I think, I'd be more drawn towards spending the money on that as opposed to this. But I think, Ryan, you actually mentioned it a couple times about make an AR lower that I could put my Glock mags into, because you have the full capacity.
The happy sticks.
Yeah, the happy sticks. And
there you go.
For someone who's just really itching to have a happy stick in a in a black rifle-ish pattern, this would be a really cool fit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. I want to check out some YouTube stuff. I don't know. Is there any YouTube stuff out there? People using these?
It's quite a bit of it.
Okay, yeah, I want to definitely check that out because it looks like a cool product. It looks like the construction is top notch, and it looks like overall it's a very well thought out product. And I don't know how much the price, if it's slightly inflated, but you can get a purpose-built just right carbine for a couple $100 more, and I think I would trust that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, everything I've read, they're very reliable. Now, I'm not, like I said, I've never shot one. I just thought they were cool. Just the basic model is like $359, and that's the price everywhere I found it. So the accessories are what runs up the price. They charge you for every little thing, and that's kind of disappointing in a way. So yeah, you're probably with a stock and the basic model and I don't know, I guess sights, you're probably looking at $500. And then I was looking for Glock lowers, and I found a couple that had, just the lower damage slide, and they're coming in under $100 for some of the older styles. So that'd be kind of interesting.
Oh, okay, I see where you're going with that. If you didn't already have a Glock,
right,
getting into this just using a lower. Okay.
Right.
So that's not even that's not even in my wheelhouse, because to get a new pistol, lower or complete, is a whole process for me here in New Jersey. So I don't even think about anything pistol related unless it's like a well thought out 2 or 3 month process from thought to actually picking it up. So a little jealous. Just
sorry.
Buying Glock lowers whenever you feel like it.
Or a gun broker, have it shipped to the FFL, and go pick it up in a couple of days.
Jealous.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these aren't necessarily going to win any beauty contests. They kind of remind me of a fully accessorized sub 2000 from Kel-Tec.
Okay.
It just doesn't look good. It's like putting a lipstick on a pig, really. I mean, I know it's not meant to be pretty, but it's not really aesthetically pleasing. Especially, I mean, in this full dress unit, they have it seems like everything that has UTG on it, they put on there, like the bipod, the different 6-position foregrip, and then it's a lot of stuff to be, but their Glock CCU example build, which doesn't have all that fancy stuff, actually looks really good to me, and it looks much more streamlined. I mean, you could use your own buttstock. I just using the Glock the Glock lower as a feeding apparatus, and then their upper just mates with that. I did see that the Glock actually has a little block that's got like some a little bit of magnets in it to keep it in one place, but that's needed for proper feeding. So when you're assembling the Glock model of this onto your lower, you're going to want to put this little block on your lower in a specific position, and then when you mate the two and they lock in together, it holds that block in place. But you need that for feeding. I'm assuming the rounds just need a little help to get into the chamber of the upper unit.
Extended feed ramp.
Yeah, if you're like me and you've maybe tried a sub 2000 and you found out it really wasn't your cup of tea after all, because it's a majority plastic gun, with a big seam going down the middle, this would be a lot more reliable, being that it's steel construction, and you wouldn't be able to fold it up. But I still think if you want a pistol caliber carbine, this might be another route you maybe didn't think about. There's the Lone Wolf G9, the Just Right carbines, but you could always go this route. And if you already have a Glock, and I don't know if these are actually serialized, I don't think you'll need an FFL to actually purchase these. So,
do not.
Good. Yeah, that's a huge benefit too, because then you can just order it, have it sent right to your house, and use one of the many Glocks that you've been piling up on because you don't live in New Jersey.
I do not own a Glock.
Oh well,
How
that's the
dare
next
Not
thing
a one.
too. Is
How dare
switch
you?
to the 1911 model.
Listen,
You know.
I've owned a Glock for the grand total of about 2 weeks now, and I've drank like 4 gallons of Kool-Aid already. How dare you not own a Glock yet?
Oh, I've owned one in the past. I just sold it to get my 1911.
How dare you sell it? How dare you sell
All right.
it?
Well, of course, when you order a Glock model, you can get it in multiple calibers depending on what lower you have. Whether you've got the 10 millimeter of the G20 or the 9 millimeter of the 19, 17, any one. And it goes the same for the 1911 version. You can get 45 ACP, 10 mil, 9, 40, 38 Super, 357 SIG, or 460 Roland. You can get a barrel and an upper chambered for that to mate right to your 1911. So that's kind of nice. It doesn't have to be a 45. If you wanted to do a 9 millimeter carbine, my only thing is ammo availability. I mean, you want a big old stick mag, and finding a 1911 mag that's extended capacity might be a little bit difficult to find.
Well,
That's why I was
they make
changing my
15
mind
rounds.
to go with. That's why I was changing my mind to go with a Glock lower for this, because I
But
thought
you can
about
get
the 30.
them. You can get 15 round 1911 mags, and they work.
For 9 mil
Well,
or 45.
45. Oh, it's a big old nasty stick sticking out the bottom of that thing. But
Yeah, but you could also get a double stack 1911 lower for it as well.
ooh,
Oh, there you go. Now
that's a
you're
good
talking.
But
Yeah,
you're gonna spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and if you
that
thought
would be,
if you
that's a
thought
$200-300 item.
if you thought Glocks were thick before, I get a double stack 1911 grip. You're right back to the same
don't
issue,
forget,
man.
Glocks. They also have the SF models with the smaller frames.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's compatible with the certain ones that are the single stack Glocks. But then again, you're going back to the single stack thing, and you really want the double stack.
Right.
Hey,
Let me
custom
see.
stippling job. Take some of that material off.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
it says the respective SF models work as well for the Glocks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see like a 30 or any compacts. I think the 19
Right.
size is the smallest it's gonna get.
I was
What's
really
that?
hoping that you could throw a 26 on there and just have this like dirty little stubby handle sticking out the bottom. I think that would be a little cool.
There you go.
Well,
And,
doesn't
the stubby 26 grip with the 33 round fun stick or whatever you called it sticking out the bottom of that. That
Well,
would just be amazing.
I've got those Korean 50 round 9 millimeter drums too. That'd work perfect.
well, there you go.
The levels of ignorance just overwhelming. So
Ignorant.
fantastic.
You wish you want one. You wish you could have one. If you come over to
Again,
Washington,
that's the jealousy. It's the jealousy. Again, it's the jealousy.
all right. Well, if you guys want to be able to see exactly what we're talking about, you got to go over to MechTech's website. That's www.mechtechsys.com. So that's mechtechsys.com. And or you can just Google the CCU Glock or CCU 1911. So let's get on to the next product that we're going to talk about today, and that's actually the Legacy Sports M1 carbine in 9 millimeter. So I had a feeling that Sam would appreciate this, and I think actually we all can a little bit.
Most
Just
definitely.
having a little bit of nostalgia with a little bit of modern twist. So Citadel is, they're owned by Legacy Sports. They're making these M1 carbine clones, and they're chambered in 9 millimeter, and they actually use 10 round Beretta 92 FS mags. But I'm sure you could use the 17 round mags too. So it's a blowback action, and it only weighs 5.8 pounds. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think I've seen these in like sporting goods stores like Big Five. They've got a wood stock as well as a black synthetic, but I think that wood is pretty sexy.
Yes, I do
Yeah,
too.
it's a beautiful looking rifle, but I'm striking out again here. These are illegal in the state of New Jersey
Why?
because New Jersey has this fantastic list of banned by name firearms, and the original M1 carbine is banned by name.
It doesn't
Citadel,
have a pistol grip.
it's not. It doesn't matter. It's not an assault
I
weapons
know.
ban thing. It's just banned by name. And even when Citadel came out with a 22, first they came out with the 22 version of this, and I was like, oh sweet, maybe I can get an M1 carbine now because it's in 22 and it's made by this other company and all that. And nope, it's to the best of my understanding. Anything that says M1 carbine, regardless of caliber or manufacture date, is illegal by name in New Jersey. So it's just like, this is purty. I like this thing, but we'll never get to see one.
That's so sad.
It is sad. That's depressing.
You could make a grown man cry, Sam.
I know. I'm just like full of sadness and jealousy tonight.
My dad just gave me his. He had a back in the early '60s. He purchased an original M1 carbine for $26, shipped to his house.
Oh, from
Yeah, shipped to the
CMP?
house. No, I don't know where. I don't actually know where. I'd have to pay attention to that because I still have the receipt for it. He kept it. But my mom used to deer hunt with it and everything. I really like the M1 carbine. I like the style of it, the shape, and this would be a cool. I don't know. Wouldn't mind having one.
Yeah. Well, and 30 carbine's kind of hard to come by. At least I haven't seen a whole lot of it. So, being chambered in 9mm, you've got your cost savings there and just ammo availability. Especially if you already owned a Beretta 92 and you've got a bunch of these mags laying around. This would be a sweet little camp rifle.
You know, my only point. Go ahead, Mark.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Make your point.
I was saying aesthetics. Does it catch anyone else as a little weird that the Beretta magazine with the floor plate that kind of angles up? It's just kind of like it looks a little awkward to me. It would have been cool if they executed it well. Have some sort of faux 30 carbine magazine exterior that went into, so it didn't look. To me, it looks like a little. It looks a little weird.
Like it's got a little.
Well, the only thing with a 30 carbine is it's a single stack magazine, so it's not big and fat like.
I was saying a faux look to sort of mask the Beretta stick that's just hanging out the bottom of it.
Like a sleeve that goes over the mag itself.
Yeah, like it would of course have to be wider to accommodate the Beretta magazine, but the look to kind of flow with the aesthetics, because overall it looks pretty spot on and it flows really nice and it has the same classic look, and then you kind of have this goofy footed Beretta magazine sticking out the bottom. But that's just me being like nitpicky.
Yeah.
But it's like that's like the one thing that just glares at me. Everything else is gorgeous, but you have this like little weird foot sticking out the bottom.
I can agree with you on that. I mean, if you just glance at the rifle, it looks pretty spot on, like you said, and then you're right, that magazine kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so they've actually got a couple more models too. Let's see. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at their spec list, and they've just got a different SKU for the different mags they'll also sell. So it's still just the same models, wood and black synthetic. It'd be cool if you could swap out some like the paratrooper folding stock onto it, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work. But that would be like pretty awesome to have that. I got a buddy whose dad has a carbine with the jungle stock, and it's pretty gnarly. I mean,
Fair enough.
it looks like it's been dropped out of a helicopter one too many times, but still a piece of history.
Also, like I mentioned, they still do make the 22 caliber version. It eliminates the goofy-footed 9mm magazine issue, and it's a couple $100 cheaper if you're just looking for a fun plinker that looks pretty cool. You can also check it out on their website.
Yeah, what does that have an internal magazine or like a?
If it does, it has a foam magazine that looks pretty good, but I'm pretty sure it's detachable. Let me specs. Wait. Magazine capacity 10 rounds, so I'm guessing it's it's detachable because one of the items is a 10-round magazine. So
yeah, it looks like a proprietary 10-round mag that looks a whole lot more authentic.
Oh yeah, like this one is like when I first saw it on the shelves, I said, I actually saw one in a gun store once, and I said, "Is that an M1 carbine? I thought those are illegal." And he said, "Oh, well, that's in 22." And I said, "Really? So that's legal?" And it wasn't on there for too much longer. Then shortly after that, I asked another gun store, and they said, "Nope, we can't get them because they're illegal." The Attorney General, I guess, made a ruling on it or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's also
not to dwell.
See,
yeah.
you should have bought it.
Go ahead.
So
yeah, you're right.
That impulse buy.
That was before I had even less disposable income, so
okay.
There was no impulse buying of rifles back then.
Well, and if you're more interested in getting a 22 model, they've got these Moonshine edition ones. I don't know. It's like Moonshine is the name of the camo company, but the stocks have been dipped. So they've got like the Muddy Girl, which is kind of like a pink camo with some leaves in there. But they've got Harvest Moon, which is kind of more grayscale, and then they've got it's that Outshine, which kind of got like a yellow orangey type camo with some grayscale twigs in there. Definitely looks unique.
The Harvest Moon is nasty. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be worth it to get one of those. That'd make your kid grin ear to ear. And see, the MSRP on those is $368.
Same price as the standard one. Oh God, why did I even look at this website? Now I want one so bad.
Yeah,
I have to get to the bottom of this. I can't trust the internet for answers. I need to go to a couple gun stores and ask to just double, triple check.
There you go.
And have my soul crushed once again, but I gotta cover my bases because these things are sharp.
So if you go to www.legacysports.com and then search under Citadel, you'll be able to see these carbines that we're talking about. So next up is something that there might be a lot of you that know and have used it before, and you might be completely oblivious to its existence. It's shockwave exploding rifle targets. It's a competitor to Tannerite. It's the same binary exploding target, but it's a different brand than Tannerite's an actual brand name. So Shockwave makes a couple different sizes, and they also make 22 sensitive exploding targets as well, which is pretty nice. You can shoot at it with a 22 long rifle round, and instead of having to use something that's going over, 1,300 feet per second. So if you go to shockwavetargets.com, you can see the website we're talking about. I've actually used they call this the Earth Shaker. I think it's a 5-pound, kind of 4 pound.
Yep.
Yeah. I've used that, and it was awesome, and it made a whole lot of smoke. Yeah, I actually I can detonate these in the area I was at, but I definitely saved it for the end of the day. And the amount of water vapor smoke that came off of the explosion made me pack up all my stuff and get the heck out of there. 'Cause it was
Okay.
pretty awesome.
To someone who's completely in the dark on the exploding target thing. So at first I saw this and I go, well, what do you put it on? But then it dawned on me, you just leave it in the package and shoot it, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, because at first I was like, do you glue it to the target? And then I was like, when you said...
Well, you could.
Yeah.
Right, I guess you could, but then you're like, they call this one the Earthshaker, and I was like, oh, because you use all 5 pounds at once.
Yeah, 4. Well, sometimes they sell them in kits to where you mix up a batch and then you put them in little baggies, and then you like can glue them on the back of a target. So, you know, in the 12 ring, there's a baggie behind it, so your bullet goes through the paper in the right spot and will hit this and detonate, and give you an auditory feedback. Yeah, I hit it, but it's a much more fun just to mix the whole thing up and leave it in the jar. Thing out. So they part of the big. I know they're gonna try and pass legislation on these. I can see it happening, and it's too bad. But there's some idiots out there that, or not, I wouldn't say idiots, but just redneck scientists, I'll call them, that were like, wow, 1 pound makes a pretty big boom. What if I take 2 pounds? And then by deductive reasoning, they're like, what if I get 50 pounds and I put it in my RV? And then they videotape it getting blown to smithereens and put it on YouTube, and it just scares lawmakers to death that something like this is out there that isn't regulated. So if you haven't tried it and you see it on the stores, I would recommend picking some up and trying it for yourself while you can. I'm not saying stock it up like it's going to be, you know, a hot commodity. I'm just saying that it might get a little bit more stricter as far as, you know, you've got to, you know, so I don't know. The worst thing is this gets classified under, you know, destructive device, and you'd need to fill out a form for it. Hopefully that wouldn't happen, but
And then it costs
typically you use. What's that?
Then it costs $50 to buy it instead of
Yeah.
what, 5 or 8.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. It's usually under $20 for a a big old one. I know Tannerite. Sometimes I can get that for like $17, $18 for a 2-pounder. I think that this 4-pound Earthshaker was under $20. I think it might have been $15, $14. The one thing you want to do is like if you get the little 10-pounders, well, first let me explain how it works. So you can't just buy this off the shelf and shoot it, and it have to go off. It's a binary explosive, meaning that it needs 2 parts to be mixed. So there's this white oxidizer, that's the granules that you'll see. But when you open it up, there's a little baggie of catalyst, and I don't know right off the top of the head what it's made out of. It's probably something phosphate, but it's really fine gray powder. So you open up the packet and you pour it right onto the contents of the jar, and then you put the lid back on and you shake it. You flip it upside down, shake it. You want to get all the white granules to become gray, and that's what lets you know that it's been thoroughly mixed up. At that point, you need to shoot it. You don't want to store it in that condition. You don't want to transport it in that condition because the binary ingredients have been mixed and it is ready to be shot at. So when you're shooting, if you miss, if you get like a glancing hit, it won't necessarily go off, and you run the risk of piercing the container and everything spilling out and you losing your compression, in which case you just wasted your money. I've done that like 3 or 4 times. Especially at long range, if you hit a little high and you hit it right in the cap, where you just blow the cap right off, and then the whole jar goes spinning through the air, and all the ingredients just scatter into the wind, and then you're done. So you want to make sure that you get a good solid hit. With the standard non-rimfire ones, you want to use a round that's exceeding actually 2,200 feet per second. So the previous speed that I said before was actually still too slow. So usually rule of thumb is a .223 or higher caliber. You can shoot it with a 50 cal or 338 or 30-06, whatever you got. Just got to be going as fast or faster than a 223.
So you need this stuff to be contained in order to.
Yeah,
what does it do if it was?
I don't know. I know that there's some brands that they make theirs a little bit differently. I know, like in the red targets, you can actually shoot it just in a little zipper bag. I mean, I've seen people just put it in a little Ziploc bag and throw it up in the air and shoot it with their shotgun, and it would go off if it's, sensitive enough, especially formulated to be that sensitive. But in my experience, this stuff that's kind of close to tannerite, you kind of want it to be contained. And part of the selling points is that it does not create like a flame. It basically creates like an explosion with some water vapor and stuff. So you're not supposed. You can't really start a fire with these, but there's been, especially in my area, forest fires that have started, and they've traced the source back to somebody using these. And so whether they strapped a can of hairspray or they had a can of diesel fuel right next to it, it would go off and start a fire. So don't do that, or a can of propane or anything like that.
The only thing running through the back of my head is how quickly I would lose my membership and be kicked out of my range if I just stuck a little Ziploc baggie behind my 12 ring and my 10 ring and see what happens.
Yeah, that's definitely most ranges don't want you to.
If I had a place to shoot this stuff, I'd be like, shut up and take my money, because big boom, like, again, jealousy. Need to look into a better place to shoot.
Yeah, I know most ranges have a policy that they don't want you using exploding targets, just because you're gonna probably end up setting it on, a chair, or, there's people that have less common sense than others, so they'll set this on some kind of surface that the club's paid for, and it'll end up damaging and costing them money.
I mean, my club, you can't even shoot at clay targets on the plinking range or soda cans. So, yeah, exploding targets is definitely not going to happen.
Well, I can just go in my backyard. I live on 450 acres, so I can pretty much do what I want.
Again, Mark, seething jealousy just pouring out of me.
I'm sorry. Come down and visit. Feel free.
You should be feeling some jealousy coming from my end as well. But
okay.
I've got some desert to play with.
I won't gloat then.
So, shockwave targets. You can also find tannerite in the red targets, and all this stuff you can buy online and in bulk. Just be safe, be responsible. If you're gonna mix up over a pound, don't shoot it within 100 yards. I'm pretty sure that's written all over the packaging, but it goes without saying that it could kick up some rocks and you might get caught with some shrapnel. So
don't ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you're gonna do anything stupid, don't videotape it and put it on the internet.
Certainly not.
No. So on to the next product. It's actually our sponsor product, Spotlight, and from Action Target. If you go to Action Target's website and use the promo code Radio15, you'll get 15% off your order. Alternatively, you can go to the firearmsinsider.tv website and click on the Action Target banner, or just go to firearmsinsider.tv/Action Target. So I did last couple of weeks I've brought up some steel targets. This week I'm actually selecting a target holder. So what this is the PT turn swing, and it is a base that holds some wood, and that you would mount your target to, your cardboard silhouette, or just your sheet of cardboard with paper on it. And the advantages to this is that it has some control cables, so you can basically have the target, kind of rotate. So if you have it rotated to 90 degrees to where you couldn't see the target face, and then you were doing some action type shooting or some reaction type shooting where you, Your partner would pull the string, or you'd pull the string yourself, and then shoot at the target as it appeared. Alternatively, it also has a swinging motion back and forth. So it's a second control cable that you would pull, and this thing would actually just rock back and forth and give you a moving target to shoot at. Or if you had it behind cover, it would pop in and out of cover. Have you used these before in your competitions, Mark?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We use one of these similar. It's not the same, not quite the same, but it twists. And we take the rope and tie it to something else, and then we'll shoot a steel popper or a fall down, something. So when you shoot the steel, it falls down, hits the rope, and you have to react to the moving target. And it's tough. I don't know how quickly this one rotates, but the one we have on our range, it maybe gives you half a second to do a double tap. So it's tough.
Yeah, the benefits of this is that there's no adjustment or reconfiguration to switch between turning and swinging. So that means nobody has to go down range to adjust the equipment to do either or action, which is kind of nice. Both actions are spring-loaded to return automatically to the original position. So if you pull the string, it's facing you broadside, and it would turn, and then you release this cable, and it would return back to position. Same thing for the swinging. And the price point, we're looking at $289. So you're looking at something that's definitely going to be really useful for anyone that's going to be training for competition, or maybe you own a range, or you're organizing a club, an IDPA match, or 3-gun, and you're looking to invest in something to help make the targets a little less static, a little more lively.
They're definitely fun to shoot at. It's a challenge.
Yeah, and then it uses 1x2 wood strips that of course, they get shot up with just errant bullets. You just replace the wood strips, so you're not looking at really damaging anything that you can't replace. And so you can also link up to 6 of these together, and they'll function simultaneously from a single control point. So if you wanted to do a stage where you had 6 shooters all lined up, holstered up, and then you had 6 of these targets lined up, you could pull the cord, and all 6 of them would be swinging and simultaneously. And it's kind of even playing field. All 6 shooters shooting at something that's moving in the same rate. That would be fun. I kind of want to do that now. So virtually any size cardboard, target, or paper can be attached to those 1x2 wood strips. So if you've got a favorite target, if you want to use your IDPA targets, or just the good old printed bad guy holding a hostage target, anything like that, you could staple that on there. So target can be placed on concrete, but there's a greater chance that it slide when the ropes are pulled. So there's a stake for the rope pivot that must be driven into the ground, and that won't function on concrete. So for best results, place the target on a rough surface where the target won't slip and the stake can be firmly anchored. So the ropes and the cables do come with the PT turn swing, and they're the 2 ropes are 30 feet long, and there's 2 5 feet long steel cables to link multiple units together. So pretty interesting.
That'd be a lot of fun to have.
Yep, step up your training. So let's get right into the panel reviews, and I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Mark go first.
Well, alrighty then. So this is a recent purchase I made. I just went down to the store and I saw it, and I put my money down. I'm sorry, Sam had to do it. This is the 6 Sauer 1911 22. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, there we go. This is a full-size 1911 in 22 caliber. The 6 Hour branded it, and I think it's personally a little better fit and finish, but it's made by GSG. If y'all are familiar with that, they're identical. All the parts are the same, everything. But I think, this is a personal opinion, I've seen the GSG, and I think the finish on the SIG is just a little bit nicer. You pay for that, the name and the finish, I guess, about $100 more than the GSG goes for. But it's a good-looking pistol, well made. The sights are Novak sights, I believe it's. It's a 3-dot glowing, a glowing dot. They're plastic, of course. Little on the cheap end as far as that goes. It's got a ambidextrous safety. The beaver tail grip is kind of funny looking on this thing. It's got a real deep curve to it, and the hammer recesses into it. I've never figured out why they did that, but one thing about this particular weapon is that it's almost, I want to say about 90% of it can be replaced with standard 1911 parts. So if you wanted to change out the trigger or the safety levers or any of it, you can do that. The grips, it's all standardized. The back strap, you can change out those. So it makes it very functional for a practice weapon for somebody that runs a 1911, a regular 45. They could shoot this instead, and that's actually, well, it's one of the reasons I bought it. I bought it, my son likes it too, so he uses this in the competition matches we shoot, as well as I do. Some of the negatives to it, like I said, the sights are plastic, so you could replace those with standard metal sights if you so chose. Some people talk about the guide rod and barrel bushing are plastic. Again, there are aftermarket companies that are making stainless steel components for them. They're about $80 as an upgrade, and it's supposed to enhance the accuracy quite a bit. Or a bit, I can't say quite a bit, but I was really happy this past weekend shooting it. I've shot it 2 or 3 times, put about 500 rounds through it so far, but Saturday was the first time I've competed with it, and I was real impressed with, I mean, granted it's a 22, so you don't have the recoil, but I was able to, shoot my double tap targets very quickly, and I was hitting center mass. I only dropped a few rounds the whole course, and I was really happy with it. It has a magazine catch, so the safety won't release without a magazine in it. It does, comes with a standard 10-round magazine. And this was a cool thing that I came up with, or I found. Some of the same people that sell the performance kits for it. Can you tell that that's an orange follower on this one? The magazines are a metal, and they come 10 rounds, but you can replace this orange follower and allows you to put 14 rounds in it. It's only about $4 or $5 upgrade, so I went ahead and got those for it. The only other thing I'd like to do is the base plates are plastic on a metal magazine, and you can replace those with a lot of aftermarket base plates for them, but they're like $18 to $20, so I don't know if I'll be doing those anytime soon. So look at some of the stuff here that I wrote on it. Overall length 8.5 inches, overall height 5.5, width 1.4 inches, and it's a 5-inch barrel. All pretty much standard dimensions for a 1911. MSRP for it's $460. I paid $365 for it at my local gun shop. It comes in a the black, which I have. It also has a they have a what's that? Camouflage version of it, which is like $100 more. I didn't care for that one too much personally.
Yeah, I was just looking at that camouflage, and it looks like it was a do-it-yourself rattle can job that
Yeah.
somehow they must have did once and then were able to replicate it in some kind of film, and then just to apply it. But it looks like you made the stencils yourself, and it's very fuzzy and very, I don't know,
Right.
it reminds me of Krylon.
Well, see, they actually had one at the shop used, and it was the same price. So I could have gotten that, and for the same price, I got this one, which was a new model. But I chose to go with this one. If you haven't guessed yet, I'm a very traditional kind of person. Don't like a lot of color and fancy there. But anyway, so as far as the rating goes, nice fit and finish. I mean, it shoots well. It feels good. Doesn't rattle a lot. I would say it's almost the same weight as a standard 1911, slightly lighter, obviously, because of the materials it's made of, but it's fairly close. Most aftermarket 1911 parts are interchangeable, so you could upgrade your hammer and the trigger and all that stuff. And the magazines as well are comparable in weight and size to an actual 1911. Some of the negatives I had, the magazine lockout. I don't know, it's just a feature I don't like. You can easily defeat it. You can pull the back strap out and it's removable, but it's got plastic guide rod, plastic barrel nut, so those things obviously are replaceable as well. The odd-looking beaver tail safety grip, and the only other thing I found is it does require, they do state it in the manual that it requires high velocity 22, and you need to get it because the low end stuff it won't cycle the slide well. So I gave it an 8.5. I really like the pistol. I haven't found anything negative about it yet. I only had it for maybe a month, and like I said, I've run about 500 rounds through it. So
Does it disassemble about the same as the standard 1911?
it does. The only I forgot to mention that there's in its original configuration, there's one little set screw that's right there that you have to take out in order to take it apart. Other than that, it takes apart exactly like standard 1911. If you did the upgrade with the stainless steel guide rod, spring, and barrel bushing, it eliminates that screw, and then it is exactly like a standard 1911. So.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting.
I think it's a sharp-looking gun. And you said it is a full size?
It's the same exact size as a full size 1911.
See, that's cool because I don't think I've ever seen one of these in a store. I've seen like the baby 22 1911s, like the baby Browning or whatever they're calling that, and those just didn't feel right. But that's cool. That's sharp. A full size purpose built 22 1911. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was nice shooting it. Like I said, it was. I didn't have to buy any new accessories. All my magazine pouches and my holster all fit the same as my 45 that I run. So I was just able to swap guns and magazines and tear at it. So
sweet. Yeah, I've been looking at it. I've looked at these before because I love a 1911, but sometimes that 45 is just a little bit of an expensive food to feed it. But then again, 22 right now is not all that different. But this looks like it's a pretty nice fit and finish.
It is. It's a very clean. The nice grips. These grips I think are a plastic or a polymer of some kind, but they look like wood and they feel good.
And you can replace it with any 1911 grip, can't you?
Exactly. That's what. I mean, that's why I'm saying the sights. Anything you wanted to spend money on with this thing, you could do it. I mean, you could upgrade the grip safety and the back strap, everything, even the sights. You could put all, you could go less bear on yourself or Wilson or whatever.
That'd be a lot for a 22.
Well, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, no wife, no kids. You gotta spend it on something. So.
Well, I have wife and kids, so I have to ask permission.
Bones, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for that review, Mark.
Okay.
So next up, we got Sam, and he's got some more modifications he's done to that Glock 19. What'd you do now, man?
Yes, as I've said, I have fully dove into the kiddie pool or so of Kool-Aid that I've drank towards my Glockdom. The next part I'm going to talk about is the ilovemyglock.com. I Love My Glock Sure Speed extended magazine release. I don't know how good it's making out on the camera. If you guys could see that, there it is. Try to get it from the top. From the angle, you can kind of see the contour of it. It's CNC machined from aluminum, and right off the bat, I like that a little bit more because I found, even though it did its job, the stock one felt a little mushy to me. The plastic on plastic. It didn't feel right. This, to me, runs a little smoother, as well as the improved ergonomics of that contour is just fantastic. So walking through my review, the claim to fame would be the improved ergonomics of it. Its target market is anyone that would like an improved magazine release for their Glock. Key features, as I've said, it's solid CNC aluminum construction. It allows for faster magazine changes. It will only fit Gen 4 models, so this is completely ambidextrous. You could switch it just like your standard Glock magazine release. And it enables little to no repositioning of your grip when attempting to release the magazine. It's available in both black and silver. Both of them, of course, ambidextrous and fits Gen 4s. I found only good things on the internet. I didn't see any formal written reviews on this product. I found them on Amazon, the reviews, all 5s and 1 4. I think there was a total of 7 reviews on it. Everyone just had great things to say about the usability and their preference to this over the standard Glock magazine release. They go on the I Love My Glock website. They go for $22.99, both in silver and in black. However, on Amazon, the black model is $19.99 versus $22.99. I don't know where that disparity comes from, but I bought mine through Amazon for $19.99 with free shipping, and worth every penny. It's fantastic. Gets a plus for ergonomics, a plus for aesthetics, a plus for fit and finish, and a plus for increased operational efficiency. For those of you who have ever kind of gotten hands-on with a Gen 4 Glock, to me, I have pretty big hands, and still I would have to slightly reposition my grip hand. Let me just get back to the video if you can see it. So if I'm gripping the gun, I would kind of have to break grip slightly to get a good positive feel on the magazine release to drop a magazine. But the way this is contoured, the bump of the contour is more towards the rear of the gun. Therefore, in a natural grip position, it's just a matter of lowering the thumb slightly and you're already on it. Or depending on how your grip is, you're right in the area of it and just pressing. It's a lot easier and, like I said, a lot more comfortable. It allows you to maintain better control of the firearm during magazine changes. Therefore, it increases that efficiency and the speed in which you can do them, and the speed at which you can get back onto the target. Like I said, I broke this gun in a bit this weekend, and I was really paying attention to, during my reloads and magazine changes, how it was working out for me. And it's a 9 in my book. It's absolutely fantastic. Worth every penny.
Hey, you think that the standard Glock magazine release would have changed? It's just, I don't know, cheap to make, but man, they could improve on it so much.
Yeah, it really, and I was shocked because I was like, I got big old paws, and I'm still finding myself reaching a little bit to get that positive engagement of the stock release. And then when I threw this one in here, I was like, how come Glock hasn't figured this out in the last 25 years or however long they've been around? 25 years now, or is it close to 30 or something like that? But yeah.
So what's the difference? I mean, I haven't handled a Glock in a while, so what is different about the shape of it or whatever that, I mean, does it extend back or just stick out more or what?
Right, so I'm going to try to get it back on camera while I explain it. Which direction am I going in here? Wrong way? Yeah, wrong way. Okay. So as I'm turning it, you can kind of see, where is it? The bump?
It's rounded, right?
Yeah, it's rounded, but it's more oval. It's not like a complete circle, like a semicircle. It's sloped towards the back, so it follows the contour of the frame until the frame starts to roll over into the side panel of the frame, and then there's an exaggerated bump. So it's kind of following the frame, and the frame angles to go to the side of the grip, and that's where the extended flare is. The standard one kind of just goes straight out from the side of the grip of the frame. It kind of goes straight out, and it juts out towards the trigger guard more. This kind of reverses that and brings the control further to the rear, and you feel it. It's very distinct. So as you're coming down, you know exactly where it is. Just the right amount of pressure, of course, releases the magazine. I love it. Big improvement.
It's interesting how such a subtle difference makes such a big difference.
Oh yeah, I was a little skeptical. I kind of just bought it on a whim because it looked cooler and it was aluminum, and it kind of broke up the look. It looked a little different, and I did want a certain amount of extension just to have that more positive engagement of it. But once I felt what they did with that contour, it just blew me away. Like, it was night and day how I can manipulate that part, and that's what really shone for me.
Yeah, the stock magazine releases are not very ergonomical at all. They're squared, at least on my Gen 3s. Squared, angled corner, or sharp kind of corners that, like your middle finger, will actually sometimes dig into one of the corners, and so I end up usually just stoning off one corner a little bit, just so I don't get that uncomfortable pressure when I get a good grip on there. But yeah, you've got to break your grip to get to it, really, unless you've got longer fingers. But I think that's
okay. So I googled the stock Glock release, and I see. Okay, so it's just a square thing sticking out there on the side.
It's a square pad.
Yeah.
Or a rectangular pad, if you will.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's pretty much flush with the side of the frame of that grip, part of the grip. It's flush with that, and then it juts out. So the exposed part, it kind of sticks away from that corner, whereas this one reconfigures that, where the part that's protruding is more so on that side of the frame where you're gripping. Like I said, it brings that control point further back, and it gives you access to it.
Probably a softer touch, so you don't have to. I mean, that thing looks like it would hurt pushing on it.
Well, like I said, it's a better engagement because you have the thin rod, the spring steel rod, which is the magazine release spring, now it's acting on a piece of aluminum versus a piece of polymer. And that piece of aluminum, now it's aluminum gliding across polymer, not polymer on polymer. Not saying that any of those stock parts are, let's say, unreliable or likely to fail. They'll go through thousands and thousands of rounds and hundreds of magazine changes, at least, if not thousands of magazine changes. But I think ergonomically, I felt a big difference when you swap that out. The magazine release feels a lot more sure. It feels sure and definite, and to me, it both activates and restores itself to its original resting position faster and more surely.
Sweet. Well, I'm sure lots of Glock owners out there who haven't already modified their magazine releases are now looking at it going, I think I might be.
The next Glock I buy, this is the first thing going on it. Let me put it that way.
Well, I'll consider it next Glock I buy.
Running around buying all those blem lowers for $100.
Well, next up, I'm gonna do a review on a scope that I just got. It's another Vortex. I'm really addicted to the Vortexes, but this time I tried to purposely get one of the lower cost models, almost surely for the purpose of reviewing it. I put it on my rifle, and I don't know if it's going to stay there or not. But it is one of the Diamondback series, and if you're not familiar with Vortex, it goes Crossfire as the lowest, and then it goes Diamondback, and then it goes the Viper series. So the Diamondbacks are a little bit less expensive. In fact, this one MSRP's for $269, but I got it for under $200, about $190, $180. It's a 1-inch tube, unlike their Viper series, where most of them are a 30mm tube. So this one was 4-12 by 40. They also make a 3-9, and the reticles you can do the V-Plex or the dead hold BDC. The V-Plex is just your standard, duplex reticle, but they call it V-Plex because of the Vortex. And the dead hold BDC has some MOA drop-off points, but they're kind of staggered out, and depending on what caliber you're shooting, it's going to fit a certain profile, and with the scope comes with a little booklet that shows you if you're shooting a high-velocity varmint cartridge, you're in group B or C, and then so if you set your 0 for 200 yards, it tells you what the next hash points below indicate for your drop in inches, or I'm sorry, your drop in MOA. The windage and L adjustment is in MOA as well, and it's actually really nice. It has slots to use a coin, but you can use just your fingers as well, and it's a really nice adjusting. So they are capped turrets. I wouldn't even necessarily call them turrets. I guess they'd call them turrets, but they're not the super tall tactical ones. They're the shorter ones that are capped. Really nice tangible clicks. I was using a bore sight, a laser bore sight, and I didn't even have to really look at the clicks, and I can just kind of feel it. Okay, 6 clicks over, 4 clicks up. So really nice adjustment for that point. The matte finish on the whole scope, I was really impressed with. It seemed to be the same finish that they put on all their scopes. So it was nice. It wasn't too thin or anything like that. It didn't have like an off-putting gloss finish to it. It was just nice matte. The magnification ring it has a very shallow ridge for you to, it doesn't have a large addition onto it for your finger to use it to switching the magnifications. So that's kind of a little bit more subtle, But as far as going up and down through the magnifications, it was really smooth, and really just felt quality wise. Other 4x12 sub $200 scopes that I've experimented with in the past vary a lot in how smooth that magnification ring moves around. So this was definitely solid. They don't make any, even though it's a 40 mil objective lens, it doesn't come with a sunscreen or a sunshade extension, and you can find like I think I even saw on Brownells where Vortex makes a kill flash, which is like that honeycomb that just slips right over the top of the bell, and it even has a lens cover that can close it. But it's kind of a mix of rubber and plastic, and I didn't feel like investing in that. So as for the scope itself, I got the dead hole BDC reticle. I was putting it on a 22-250, which is kind of the reason why I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep it, because I want to shoot elongated ranges with that caliber, being that it's going at 4,000 feet per second. So we're looking at over 500 yards, and this scope in particular gets a little bit fuzzy past 10 power, and it's got a fixed parallax, so it does not have an adjustable parallax. So it's fixed at 100 yards. So if you're putting on a rifle that you're only going to be shooting about 100 yards, 200 yards, it'd be a perfect scope for like hunting. But if you're planning on doing some tactical type shooting past that, you might want to go up to the Viper series, which I think is what I found I'm going to end up having to do. So the scope itself, I give it a 7.5. It is a budget scope. It's not claiming to be anything more than it is, and you get a lot of quality and value for your dollar, as opposed to going with something like a Redfield or like a really low-end Loophole. I think that the Vortex is definitely going to be in the top 3 competitors of that price bracket if you're looking at scopes in this similar category. The reviews, of course, on Vortex's site, they're all 5 and 4 star reviews. So I went to Amazon to try and find a little bit more varied reviews. And so someone's put it on their 1022, say it's a tack driver. The one person said that past 10 power it does get noticeably more fuzzy, and that caused them to switch to a different scope altogether. The reticle itself, it's a little thicker than the Viper reticles as far as the width of the lines, and that's quite noticeable as well. So if you're once again looking at shooting much farther than 200-300 yards, you might look into a different reticle. If that's your limit and you don't plan on doing any shooting beyond that, this might be the perfect scope for you for the money. Yeah, it's got a really nice eye relief, I've found. It wasn't all that short. They've got it advertised as, let's see, eye relief 3.1 inches. I found that it was just fine. I just used medium height rings, and it seemed to work well with my rifle that has a 20 MOA base on it. The adjustment graduation for the elevation of windage is 1/4 MOA per click, and per rotation you've got 15 MOA to work with. I'm sorry, per rotation is 15 MOA, so 15 times 4, you would have, I'm tricked myself into doing math on the show, sorry, 60 minutes of angle per rotation, right? No, don't quote me on that.
Total.
Max elevation total is 60 MOA for elevation and windage. So the length of the total scope is 12 inches. The weight is 14.6 ounces. That's another thing, too, that I thought about is if you're putting this on a hunting rifle, you don't want to weigh it down all that much. So this would be a little bit lighter than your scopes that have the full turrets and the full parallax adjustment and a 50 millimeter bell. So for putting on a packing gun, something you're going to sling over your shoulder, it's a really nice option to go with. So you can get that at the Vortex website, or you can pick that up on Brownells or Amazon. And if you do either, I would suggest going over to the Firearms Insider website and clicking on one of the affiliate links. And so your purchase can greatly assist in us keeping up this broadcasting, and we'd appreciate that. So that's my review. Have you guys, what do you think?
Well, I was just looking at their site, and they do have a AO version of that same with a adjustable objective lens.
Yep, and it's an extra, I think,
$100.
$100, yeah. I was comparing this to another scope that they had right next to it, and it was on sale, and it was a 3x12, which is kind of weird. Usually it's either 3x9 or 4x12, not 3x12. But it had all the bells and whistles on there. It had the same reticle, but it was a little bit finer. But it was an extra $200. So I had to debate, pocket that $200 and put that toward other things which I really need to do, or spend the whole thing on something that costs after tax $450 scope, when an extra couple $100 on top of that could have got a really nice Vortex. So you can kind of see my conundrum. But the fact that it's
it never ends. You can always add a couple of $100 and get something a little better.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
But for a 1-inch scope too, because a lot of times somebody, if you've got a bunch of 1-inch scope rings, if you want to get into Vortex, but all their Vipers, most of them have 30 millimeter tubes. You don't have any scope rings for that, and you're like, well, at least this you can use your existing scope rings if you only have 1-inch. So that's another added benefit. As far as the coating of the lenses, I wanted to make sure that I talked about that. They are fully multi-coated, increases light transmission with multiple anti-reflective coatings and all air-to-glass surfaces. And of course, like all Vortex scopes, you've got waterproof, shockproof, fog-proof, and it comes with the Vortex VIP warranty. Do whatever you want to it, smash it, run over it with your truck, as long as they can tell it was a Vortex scope at one point, they'll take care of you. So you can't beat that. So that's pretty much what I got to say about that scope. I hope to do more reviews on a little bit nicer Vortex scopes in the future as my budget allows for it. Which, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at glass right now. My dad is letting me. My dad gives me a lot of guns. It's very nice of him. It's a 270 Mauser, or actually Inner Arms Mark X. It's a Mauser action, and I'm wanting to build it for a long-range shooter. And that's my last purchase, is a scope to put on it. So.
What kind of yardage are you looking at?
Well, the shoots we do down there are multi-range from 1 to 800 yards. So.
Well, if you're looking at a Vortex, I'd probably recommend the Viper.
Yeah, that's kind of
the 4 to 16. That's what I've got on my 308. It's really nice. Of course, if you want, if I'm not saying your eyes need more help, but they've got a 6.5 to 20. If you would like more magnification.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll get right into the tech gadget or app, and this is actually a gadget, and it's the Contour Roam 2 camera. If you're not familiar with Contour cameras, they're kind of direct competitors of GoPro, but these are, look a lot different than GoPro cameras. They are in the shape of a cylinder. And so I found that in looking at YouTubers that film themselves shooting and they actually mount a camera to their firearm. The Contour is the most, aesthetically pleasing, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of bulk on your weapon like your AR. You can also, of course, mount this to a helmet or a headgear, head strap. So they have their original model, the Contour, and which is a second generation out for that. But now there's the Contour Roam. So the specs on that camera is that it has a 60 frames per second, beautiful HD video. It's waterproof. It's got a locking instant on record switch. It's got a still mode for you to take still photographs. The video is 1080p, and the lens actually rotates 270 degrees, and it has a 170 degree wide angle lens. It also has laser alignment too, so it has a built-in laser to help you if you're taking a still or you're about to do some filming and you want to make sure you're zeroed in on your subject. It's got a laser for that, and also is waterproof without the case. So I think the case would just help with getting bumped around. So if you go on to contour.com, you can check this out. What do you think, Sam?
Oh, I was checking this out. Out of all the things I was looking up on before the show, I just spent the most time on this website because out of the many a variety of things that I want to buy, getting one of the action, quote-unquote, action cameras has been kind of in the vicinity of my wheelhouse for a long time, and for a while I was like, oh, definitely go GoPro, and then there was a couple other brands that are kind of trying to chew into that market, and this one like really, really stuck out to me compared to everything that I've seen in the past. Especially when it comes to like mounts, the mounts seem very reasonably priced, so you can kind of get, for people who may ride a motorcycle or just regular cycle or shoot or into archery, kind of all the different things, you can kind of get all the stuff you want, and you're not going to drop another $200, $300 just to get the things necessary to get the shots you want. For right around $15, $20, even the specific Picatinny mount is only $30. So you have a lot of mounting options for a relatively affordable price. And in my opinion, if you're buying one of these little stick-it-anywhere action cameras, the cheaper model comes waterproof out the box. No need for the extra, adding the extra case and all that stuff. That is just like, that's what I want. Like, I don't even want to think about the more expensive model because the features, to me, in the cheaper one outweigh it. And I want one of these bad.
Yeah. Well, like the Contour Roam 2 is only $199.99, and actually it's the lower end model. The Contour Plus 2 is the $299.99, so an extra $100 for the other one.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The more expensive one requires you to put it in the waterproof case. You do gain GPS and Bluetooth and an HDMI port and things like that, but for an all-around rugged, action camera, the Contour Roam 2 is what I'd be going for. This thing is sharp. It looks good. And that laser feature, I haven't seen that in any other action camera. I haven't researched that market in a few months, but I haven't seen that yet. And I think that's, even if it's mounted to a firearm or a helmet, just because you mount it on your helmet, you don't really know where it's pointing. It's just nice to be able to shoot the laser and be like, okay, it's looking where I'm looking. So you're going to get that shot. Like that, it takes 1 second to do that, and if you're skiing, your whole run down the mountain could be lost because you had it off by a few degrees and you're only seeing half of what you're seeing because the camera was off. So I think this thing is sweet.
Yeah, I mean, for the extra $100, if you're seriously into these extra features, I mean, mobile connectivity, GPS, the frames per second almost doubles, so it goes to 120 feet per second. Or sorry, I'm thinking bullets. Frames per second. Same acronym. Sorry. Frames per second. Live streaming, external microphone jack, and then the waterproof case is included, but it's not waterproof outside the case, like we said. So I think either or, depending on how legit you want to get with this,
Right.
good way to go. I've got a GoPro. I've got the Hero 2, and just the one thing I don't like about it is just the format, the platform itself. The shape is like a miniature rectangle, like a traditional camera, and
Right.
it doesn't really suit itself for being in the middle of action. I mean, unless you get like a chest harness and it's right in the middle of your chest, which actually, from my last 3-gun shoot, I got 90 minutes of the ground because it was pointing down the whole time.
Because you didn't have a laser.
I didn't have a laser, right? Or I did, but it was on the gun, not the camera.
Well, but going back to the frames per second, Ryan, something to consider is the Contour Plus 2. You mentioned 120 frames per second, and that's in slow motion.
Oh, it is?
With video editing, you could speed that back up to full motion, but then your sound will be all kind of screwy, right, and all that.
Yeah. Well, if
But
you
as
want to
far
be
as-
able to take slow motion shots too, then you'd obviously
That's
pick
true.
that one.
That's true.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's the only reason I've looked at higher end cameras like in this one, the more expensive one or the GoPro, is because of the slow-mo. Something fascinates me about slow motion video.
Especially bullets.
It is pretty cool.
Have you seen
Slow-mo-
those guys? Have you seen those guys on YouTube that I think they call themselves the slow-mo dudes or something that they do?
Oh yeah, the English guys.
Yeah.
Oh, those videos are awesome.
Yes, they are.
But they're not using even a $300 camera. They're like,
Oh no.
they're like obscene FPS.
Yeah.
Like you could see the bullet coming out of the gun. If only you can mount that to your head, then it'd be sweet.
So another good thing about the Roams, it comes in different colors too. So they've got the black, but there's also a blue, a red, and a green. So if you want this to match like your bike, if your bike's a certain color, or if you and your buddies have cameras, you want to be able to keep them identifiable in between each other. You've got multiple colored bodies, kind of like Apple's got. They started doing those multicolored iPods, kind of following the same suit.
Well, now here's the tough question, guys. Which color would you pick?
Well, I don't know. I'd black because it matched my gun, or I don't know. It's not really a hard question unless you're like
I was kidding.
Red, so it matched my shirt. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
There you go.
red. So if I got blood on it hunting, then it wouldn't be no big deal.
There you go.
That's creepy.
Oh, and they also have, talking about hunting, I forgot to mention this one too while I was looking at the mounts. They have a bow mount for it, and it looks pretty sharp, and it doesn't seem like it gets in the way. And I'm sure
there
this
you go.
camera's real light. If you take a look at the picture of the bow mount, it just kind of tucks right in there behind your quiver, and hardly noticeable. And
Yeah,
even
that'd
that,
be cool.
the bow mount is made out of aluminum. Comes with all the hardware and stuff, and even that's just $20. So, like, as far as overall versatility of applying it to all sorts of different things, this is kind of edging out some other products, in my opinion.
Yeah, be able to film your hunt and do the slow mo and see just how much you missed, or
Oh no! See, like I'm going for my hunting test next week, and gonna be aiming for getting out for my first hunt in the fall for turkey and then deer season. So this is kind of I gotta get one of these and throw it on my
you
bow.
gotta get one. There you go.
Don't talk about turkey hunting. I just left turkey season last weekend. Wasn't good.
You didn't get any toms?
No, I sat there and talked to them. I guess I don't talk their language very well because I spent days calling, and they would just stay right there out of range.
Well, that's why you have to get like a 50 BMG and
That's illegal.
and throw a can of Shockwave by your decoys. So all you gotta do is hit that Shockwave, and you got some turkey. Is that not a legal form of hunting? I mean, I haven't taken my test yet, so I'm not sure.
Absolutely
well,
Absolutely not.
In Missouri, it's shotgun or archery.
Yep. So no 50 cal and a can of explosives?
No.
Dang.
No.
That'd be a fast way to lose your license, lose your gun, lose the right
And you can't-
to the last day.
And you can't fish with dynamite either.
Yeah.
Oh, no, see, that's just absurd. Oh,
What?
no, I'm kidding.
Oh, Firearms Insider does not condone any of the previous lists. Anyway,
In the state of New Jersey, these are not the hunting techniques I will be using.
there you go. So, closing up the show, don't have any more listener feedback this week. Listen to all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network, especially the AR-15 podcast with Reed Snyder and JW Ramp. Everything about America's favorite black rifle. You know, from barrels to magazines to different mounts. Anything you can put on your AR-15 rifle, I'm sure Reed knows about it and he's talked about it. So make sure you give that a listen. Go to www.ar15podcast.com. Remember to send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself, cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review, especially if you'd like to win a Raid Tech product. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network, firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. Also check out the NRA show coverage and future reviews for the Firearms Insider. So thank you guys for joining me again. Great reviews, good laughs. Man, we should do this every day, huh?
Always a pleasure.
Yep. Sam's leaning at about a 10-degree angle, which tells me it's about time to hit the hay on the east side. So thanks again for joining me, guys. And I'll catch you next time. Shoot safe, have fun.
Thanks,
night.
you too.
See ya.
Good night.